Okay, 3.3. Chairman and other councillors. Right, well I start, obviously you all know you had an email with the sad news that Paul has resigned from the chairmanship. I shall read his letter to you, which was sent to Maureen, head of the Board of Parish Council. I refer to my telephone conversation with you earlier this morning, informing you of my desire to resign from my role as Chairman of the Parish Council and the Parish Councillor for Buckton and Coxall. I do not take such a decision lightly, but I'm afraid that I'm not willing to have the quality of my life for myself and Linda upset by the constant unpleasantness that I have experienced since taking on the role of Chairman last May. I have done my level best to manage the Parish Council in an open and transparent way. Clearly, my management style does not suit certain members of the Council, nor some vociferous members of the public. I realise that when one takes on a public office, one leaves oneself open to scrutiny and potential criticism. But I did not anticipate the constant sniping I have seen occur from both within and outside the Council. It is sad to think that those who think they are trying to improve the local democratic process may eventually be responsible for destroying it. I apologise for leaving you both, you and the Board of Root Parish, in the lurch, but wish you all success for the future. Yours sincerely, Paul Derrick. I think it's a very sad day for the Parish Council. I haven't heard of it before. It obviously has happened in other parishes, but there have been other issues, but just how to lose a chairman like that. Personally, I thought Paul was an excellent chairman and was in the process of getting to grips with all that is required to do within that role.
I agree.
He'd spent a lot of time trying to get it sorted out, and time which perhaps not all of us have got. Anyway, having spoken to Paul just prior to his resignation, and having now studied the emails he was sent in the weeks before, I can understand the impossible position he was in. He said to me, it seems he just couldn't do anything right for doing wrong. Every time he tried to cover something, it had been wrong. And I went through the emails to find out where this was coming from, and I can really see it. And I'm just going to put a couple of instances here just to show why he resigned, and maybe just to point the fact that if this carries on, there will be other resignations because it's just not fair. In an email, he admitted he had met up with Sandbanks to gain help and information so he could help progress the NDP. I assume this is after the meeting, which I wasn't at, which was on the 20th. As he and I understand, this meeting was legal and in order. And does anybody know any otherwise? We are allowed to go out and have a meeting with other people. I assume that's correct, is it?
Yes, I mean you wouldn't be allowed
We do not
to
need
make
to have
any...
permission from the Board of Parish Council to go and meet somebody to get advice. No?
Yeah, I mean what isn't allowed is to make any decisions.
No.
I mean, anything that is brought to the council for the council.
But to increase your
decide.
knowledge of the process,
Yes.
and yes. So I said, so why on the 14th of September did John Walker question the meeting and refer to it as a consultation? And why should it be authorised by the Board of Root Parish? Why should it be? Because it was a meeting to gain information. And I can't understand that. Why did you question him on that?
Because, well, I was asking what was in that meeting, because it's on our agenda.
You called it a consultation. Why did you call it a consultation? He said I met with Sandbanks.
He was consulting with her though, wasn't he? Asking her advice as a consultation.
There's a big difference when you want to put it in the terms you need. He had a meeting with her, he met with Sandbanks. That's what he actually put in his letter, he met with her. He didn't say having a consultation, which could indicate having something more serious going on. It was a meeting to get information. Now, poor old Derek, Paul, he couldn't work out where he'd gone wrong there because he was doing what a good councillor should do and a good chairman should do, gain information. So I couldn't understand that. And then I carried on back through to find out more of what was going on. And then I found, prior to this, on the 20th of August, Paul was asked by you again, John, to circulate all correspondence on freedom of information. I've got the email here if you want to see it.
The correspondence to the Parish Council had.
You asked him to all information before. Do you want to see the email or do you remember doing it?
No, he'd mentioned that they'd got freedom of information, and
You said all freedom of information could it be forwarded, circulated
Yeah.
amongst it, yeah? So what's it to say? Circulate all correspondence on freedom of information. So that's what I can understand, and this is where it actually really fell apart for Paul, because he was doing as he was asked. He received a correspondence on and about the freedom of information from Simon Brown on the 14th of September, and then, as requested by John Walker, circulated it amongst the parish councillors.
May I interject that I believe that Simon had actually written to the clerk about freedom of information. He didn't expect the chairman to respond to him. He expected the clerk to respond.
Oh, I did respond and I said
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
noted.
You did.
But
And then when Paul sent him a long letter, Simon replied to that letter.
Yes.
He wasn't doing it as part of the FOI. He
Right, well-
he then thought that he was just having a discussion with
Why is he
Paul.
bothering to do it? This is...
So it was right, just a little older there. Okay, Maggie, point taken there. But this is where Paul has fallen down. Is
Yeah,
he
he was doing too much.
he was asked to
Yes.
provide information about freedom of information, and then when a letter arrives and questions it, he then responds and he circulates it as was asked to do. And you and John both replied very strongly about
It
that.
was a private letter, yeah.
But it wasn't marked on it private.
No, it wasn't.
So where do we decide there is private or not? I would expect the clerk to talk to the chairman about information that's coming in,
Yeah,
especially about something that was very topical at the time, which was the freedom of information.
but I do think it's important for councillors to know if freedom of information requests have been received.
Yes.
They,
So that's what he did.
that's all that John asked, was that...
So that's
if-
what Paul did. He sent it round.
No, that he sent a subsequent letter round, not the freedom of information request.
No, as I see here, there was the freedom of information.
just to clarify, freedom of information requests are made to the responsible officer of any organisation, because they are the people that are responsible.
So your request of Paul to put the freedom of information around the
So
rest
no
of
one
us
asked
shouldn't have been asked. You shouldn't have asked him that
No,
question.
I think John was asking him to arrange for the clerk, to the responsible officer to do it.
But you didn't
When
send
you-
that to me, did you? Did you send that to me?
Yeah, didn't I send that to you? Because that was in the middle of my...
Do I actually ask him to send the...
Let me see on
that's the...
Because Paul had already raised the question of members' correspondence with members of the public at a previous meeting.
And that's not, we haven't had a definitive answer again.
No, but
Paul was waiting to
but the
hear
freedom of
from-
information, it is the responsible officer,
From-
even if they circulate it and we reply back to you to reply to the person, but all of that has to be, because it's on the record,
Yes, of course it is.
So,
but it's not a conversation you're having.
well, unfortunately, what happens with these emails is that there is a conversation that goes on within these emails, and some of them aren't very nice at all. They're pretty accusational and very direct in certain times. And poor old Paul, where you read through these, and you think, where do you go on this? Because you do one thing, and you're told, and then it's the other thing. It's just impossible to work out for him. And no wonder he resigned. And I think it's such a sad thing that he did. And it was just so much pressure. Now, unfortunately, these emails are only coming from 4 people. It's upsetting. So, I'm afraid that is the reason he resigned. It's not for anybody else. Whether he's read it wrong, that is something else for you to decide. But as far as I can see, I found Paul a most honest, straight and genuine person,
Yes.
willing to give his time up, and he had got spare time because he had retired. And I think it's just such a loss to this community as well as this parish council.
Yeah.
I agree, it's a great loss, but I feel that he had taken over a parish council with certain aspects that weren't being dealt with correctly, and that the letters have been written, freedom of information requests have been asked to try and get the parish council to do things properly.
Right.
And if we had run our parish council properly to start with, this situation would not have arisen.
What do you mean by to start with?
Well, why have we got these freedom of information requests? Because we haven't been running the neighbourhood development plan properly, we haven't minuted things properly.
And I think
And
that's
there are-
been accepted.
Yes, but
Yeah,
if
which
we
is
had
why-
done those things properly, and if we had all done our registers of interest properly and our
Well, I think the
declarations
register of interest
properly,
are separate things.
then
That's
we
for the
wouldn't-
monitoring officer to
Yes,
decide.
then
That's-
we wouldn't have been in
I can't
this
understand
position.
why we're embroiled with that, because it's actually the monitoring officer
Yeah,
who's doing that.
he'll deal with that.
And it seems to have been brought into the parish council, which I can't understand. It seems to have gone to one layer, which was one layer above us.
Right,
And I don't think it's this parish council's the problem. I think it's the people who are asking the questions that are going to the wrong person and trying to involve the parish councillors because they think they've got an axe to grind. And that's wrong. We're here to do business. We're here to try and sort out things within the villages, to do things for the best of the community. Alongside that, we're also doing the neighbourhood development plan. It has got tangled up within this because people have drawn it into the whole argument. We still have business to do. And that's why we must push on tonight to get this business done, because there are things to be done. There are mirrors to be talked about being erected and good things to be done to help people in this community. Unfortunately, it's all been wrapped up in this and we've lost a good man because of it. And I think it's a crying shame. I think those who have been sending those emails need to have a think and maybe send an email to Maureen explaining why. And we can
you can't ask somebody to.
You can't
Okay,
ask someone to
thank you.
justify freedom of
Explain.
information request. It's against the law.
I'm not asking you to justify that. I haven't asked you to justify it.
Yeah, but you have. That's the
No.
responses to a freedom of information request. You can't challenge anybody's reason for putting it forward.
I'm not challenging it. I'm saying
I
you
think
should be.
that's what you just
I'm just
said.
saying you should be asking the monitoring officer, not us.
It's not freedom of
You
information.
can't-
It's the monitoring officer.
You can't ask the monitoring officer for information, we have
The
to,
monitoring officer deals with the register of interest.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
You ask
things
the
which
clerk
they're
for the
doing.
We want the other information, yes.
yeah.
But it's the
And-
Office of Information Commissioner, who already ruled against Border Group Parish Council in 2012 and threatened with High Court action. So there's a long history of us not complying with freedom of information.
Well, you say you're not complying, but you're part of the council.
Yeah, not in 2000.
No, now.
No, what I'm saying is that,
He wasn't then.
yeah,
No, but the fact that you're raising that.
But we want to comply with things
Well, of
now.
course, and so do we.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody's suggesting that we wanted anything.
No.
I thought we
Anything-
were just suggesting we should question why they have made those requests. Isn't that what you just said?
No.
Explain
I
that again.
gather from the information I've
Yeah.
read that I can't ask why you've asked or who's asked
Yeah.
for the agreement. That's fine.
You said you'd like the people to consider why they have sent those.
Emails, not the freedom of information, all these emails that are not just about freedom of information, but all sorts of various subjects, which are pretty nasty. You know, they aren't courteous, they're sometimes sharp, sometimes to the point. We don't need to write emails like that, and if you actually notice the way Paul has always replied, it has been in a very measured and
Yes.
polite manner.
Yes.
And that's what I'm talking about. Now, this is something that's happened 10 years ago. We didn't have emails. It was always a letter coming from the clerk and you met at the meeting and you talked about things, maybe the odd phone call. This email situation now is getting out of hand. And it doesn't do anybody any good because we're now looking at trails, trying to find out information on trails of emails. Well, as I found out going through this lot, sometimes there's an email missing and the whole understanding of the email is gone, or the thread is gone. And so we do need to get that sorted out. But I think the tone of the emails it needs to be addressed. I can't force you to, but I think it would be polite if you would address the tone of your emails amongst people within the border group.
Mr. Chair, would it be possible to write to Paul and thank him for all that he did? Because I, for one, and I'm sure all of us would
We
All
would.
agreed.
like to express
Yes.
our gratitude for the time he did for us.
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, any more points on that? No? Right, we'll move on.